Damon Silvers, who is policy director at the AFL-CIO, faced off against Edward Yingling, the CEO of the American Bankers Association, on the issue of financial reform at the Aspen Institute here in Washington. There's a point in their debate where Silvers gets to the core of how Wall Street went awry and why the financial reform fight is important. And Yingling had to concede that, quote, we have to get back to a financial sector that is serving its purpose, serving its community, serving people, unquote. Listen to this exchange.
Financial markets are not wealth-creating enterprises. They are intermediaries. They are meant to transfer savings, all of us saving away, hopefully, into investment, into productive activity, which is then the wealth-generating engine of our economy. The more efficient, frankly, the cheaper the financial markets and financial institutions are able to do this, the better. Of course, in any kind of transfer, there's a risk that something gets lost, right? There's a risk of leakage and the like. We made the mistake, particularly in the last 10 years, of thinking that we could found our economy on finance. And we were indulged in that mistake by what Ed referred to at the beginning of his remarks, the excess liquidity funded by our trade deficits that was floating around in the world. That whole little illusion came to a very unpleasant end, and we're very fortunate that it wasn't worse. In fact, it's not really clear how much. When I say that's kind of why I shouldn't have said that at all. The fact is, it's terrible. The fact is that we have 10% unemployment in this country as a result, is a direct result of this little escapade, something we haven't seen for a generation. Many people are desperately hurting. We have millions of people who have been thrown out of their homes. We're not even to the halfway point on foreclosures. We have paid a terrible price as a country for this illusion. And the price is not going away in terms of the hollowing out of our manufacturing sector, in terms of the fundamental wrong turn we've taken. And the measures of what a fundamental wrong turn we've taken are ironically the measures of how good it felt during the moment of peak illusion. Right? The measure of 40% of the profits of the S&P 500 during 2006 coming from the financial sector. Right? That should have been the signal that we were about to go off a cliff. The fact that by some measures 25% of our GDP at the peak of the bubble was indirectly or indirectly coming from the financial sector. Right? These are absurd facts, but they were true. We cannot return to that economy. If we do, it will be a brief, a brief return to the opium pipe, so to speak, before very hard.
Is that good or bad?
Well, it depends on what moment in the cycle you take. We cannot return to that moment. What we need is re-regulation of the financial sector that is comprehensive, that does not indulge these fantasies of being able to say, oh, it's not the banks that did it, or it's not these people, it's not those people. That takes away the loopholes. You've heard about a lot of suggested loopholes this afternoon. Takes away all the loopholes, right, and makes the financial sector be the servant of the real economy, not its master, the producer, the facilitator of producing good jobs, not the destroyer of good jobs and the hopes of people. Not to make the financial sector go away, or not to put it out of work or anything like that. We wouldn't want that. But to make it do what it's supposed to do.
Ed?
I think if you look at some of the numbers back in the period that Dave was talking about, they are indicative of the fact that we had a financial sector that was too big a part of the S&P, as he said, that we were spending too many great people out of college were saying, I'll go to Wall Street and getting involved in derivatives rather than running companies. I think there's a lot to that argument. And I think we need to get back to a financial sector that is serving its purpose, serving its community, serving people. We had a terrible disaster that really hurt people. I think it does, in terms of regulation, it does go somewhat to the Systemic Oversight Council. And there's a great debate about whether you can really see bubbles or not see bubbles and really see problems. I think in some cases, in retrospect, these bubbles were so obvious that it's not a matter of, oh, well, we can't quite know what the right S&P number is. If you look at some of the charts, I'm sure Damon's seen them, of what was going on with some of these types of mortgages, where in a 2-year period that chart goes like that, somebody somewhere should have been going, that's going to blow up. All you got to do is look at that chart and see it's going to blow up. So I do think that the financial sector is a smaller part of the economy.
I asked Silvers at the end what surprised him about his face-off with Yingling.
Well, I was pleased that Ed agreed that we needed to have a way of cleaning up failed banks that it made sure that we didn't bail out the stockholders anymore again. And I thought that was a good thing. We agreed upon it, and I hope that that's exactly what Congress does, is make sure that whatever resolution authority is in the financial reform bill makes clear that resolution does not include a government bailout of bank executives or bank stockholders.
But you still have a long ways to go in terms of getting on the same page in terms of consumer protection. That was clear from the debate.
Well, look, the point I just mentioned, where I thought we agreed, was one point and probably about 30 today. I think that one of the things that goes on when an effort is made to regulate an industry where deregulation has failed is that that business community will try to kind of posture as though they're actually in favor of regulation, but in fact insist on all the loopholes necessary to cripple it. I think we had a dialogue kind of like that today.
This is Isaiah J. Poole, ourfuture.org.